Welcome to the second in a series of cybersecurity videos by Beskar. In this video, we'll provide a brief overview of multi-factor authentication. A big focus for Cybersecurity Month in 2025 is multi-factor authentication. In this video, we'll talk briefly about what multi-factor authentication is, why you should use it, and how you can install it. I'm also going to briefly mention passkeys. As always, we'll start simply, and then we'll get more complex as we go along. As with our previous video, this is a basic introduction to multi-factor authentication, so we won't get into any exploits like SS7 attacks and timing attacks. We at Beskar know these exist, and we have measures in our own systems to mitigate them, but this video series is for the home or small business owner, not for advanced users trying to thwart advanced persistent threats. Let's mitigate the risk from the most vulnerable attack surface first. If you're a defense industrial-based customer, you probably know that multi-factor passwords are something you've been responsible for since the day you signed a contract with the Department of Defense. Multi-factor falls under NIST 800-171, practices 3.5.3 and 3.7.5, and NIST 853 controls IA21, IA22, IA23, and MA4. So if you're one of our small DoD business partners, you need to be using multi-factor authentication already. Multi-factor authentication is an access control measure that requires users to provide two or more distinct forms of verification to access an account or system. This approach enhances security by ensuring that even if one factor is compromised, unauthorized access is still prevented. An early form of multi-factor authentication was your bank ATM card, where the physical card and the PIN in your head had to come together at the ATM in order to access your money. Now that you know what multi-factor authentication is, let's talk about why you need to use it. The first type of authentication that I remember back when I started using computers were passwords. You may have heard that the problem with passwords is that users choose terrible passwords, and that is entirely true. Here's a list of the 10 most common passwords for this year, according to NordVPN. 2025, password, all in lowercase, drops to number 3, so that's an improvement. But secret is taking the number 1 spot. As you can see, these are terrible passwords. These are the most commonly used. In the right column, you can see the time it took to crack the passwords. Basically, all these passwords are known, as is every word in the dictionary, and computers are very good at finding matches. Here's some results from a penetration testing tool we use at Beskar called Kane-Enable, which is a password matching tool. You can see that it took just seconds to crack every easy-to-guess password. Keep in mind that this is not decryption, which is an extremely complicated mathematical process that I'm not going to discuss here, but simple pattern matching, and that's very easy for a computer to do. So multi-factor is a way to get around this weakness with passwords by requiring an additional thing, like your phone or your face or your fingerprint. There are some sophisticated exploits that work against multi-factor authentication, but multi-factor is generally pretty solid. There's also social engineering exploits that work against multi-factor. So if you tell someone your password, and then you tell them the code for your multi-factor method, you've of course broken the security of multi-factor. Just something to keep in mind. Multi-factor is required for CMMC, so for our DoD customers, under NIST 800-171 practices 3.5.3 and 3.7.5, and NIST 853 controls IA21, IA22, IA23, and MA4, you need to be using multi-factor. Before we go any further, I'd like to talk briefly about passkeys. First, and this is entirely my opinion, passkeys solve every one of the shortcomings of passwords. And I'm not alone in recognizing the shortcoming of passwords. Researchers have found a better way called passkeys. We at Beskar were on the passkey bandwagon since our founding, and we use passkeys as the main authentication measure on our systems. We also add multi-factor, but that's more because of compliance. In truth, passkeys are better than multi-factor in every regard. Basically, with a passkey, your password never travels over the internet. Instead, the system you're accessing sends a cryptographic challenge, usually accompanied by a number used once, a nonce, that can only be answered with something you have on your own device. So your secret password is never traveling over the internet, only the challenge, and since it's incremented by a nonce, it's resistant to replay attacks. In summary, passkeys are great, everyone should use them, but if you're going to use traditional authentication, you should be using multi-factor authentication. Setting up multifactor. Setting up multifactor depends on the system you're using, but here I'll present examples from some frequently used platforms. Start with your most sensitive accounts first, like your bank, credit cards, email, social media, tax filing website, and payment apps. When all that is done, you can add your other accounts, like sites you shop on. Let's start with Facebook. For Facebook, click on your profile picture in the top right, then click Settings and Privacy. Click Settings, click Account Center, and then click Password and Security. Click Two-Factor Authentication, and then click on the account that you'd like to apply two-factor authentication to. Choose the security method you want to add, and follow the on-screen instructions. When you turn on two-factor authentication, you'll be asked to choose one of three security methods. Now let's talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn, click on your icon on the top of your LinkedIn homepage. Click Settings and Privacy from the drop-down. On the left rail, click on two-factor authentication, and then click Turn On or Turn Off to change the status of your two-factor authentication. You may have to enter your password, and you may also be asked to enter an authentication code sent to the email address to approve the change in your LinkedIn app. When you turn on two-factor authentication with LinkedIn, enter the authentication code sent to your phone. Click Set Up to enable two-factor authentication, then choose the preferred authentication method from the drop-down, and click Continue to save the changes. With X, visit your X Settings and Privacy, go to Security and Account Access, click Security, click Two-Factor Authentication, and then set your two-factor authentication. Now let's talk about Gmail. Open your Google account and tap Security and Sign In. Under the How do you sign into Google tab, click Two-Step Verification. Follow the on-screen steps, and two-factor authentication is enabled in Gmail. Let's talk about PayPal. With PayPal, click the settings icon next to Log Out. Click Security near the top of the page. Click Set Up to the right of the two-step verification, and choose how you'd like to get your code by selecting Use an Authenticator app. Click Set It Up Now, and follow the instructions on the screen. Congratulations, you're all set up with two-factor authentication on PayPal. Unfortunately, it's not possible in this video to cover every single bank account that offers multi-factor authentication. However, the steps are generally the same as what you've already seen. To turn it on, go to your account settings, look for two-factor authentication, two-step verification, multi-factor authentication, and follow the steps given by your bank account. TurboTax. Sign into your Intuit account using your user ID and password. Select Sign In and Security. Under two-step verification, select Turn On, and then choose your verification method and select the Turn On button. Enter your password to confirm your choice. When you first turn on two-step verification, the only options you'll have are text message or voice call. Once two-step verification is on, you can change your choice to text message, voice call, or Google Authenticator. So, in summary, if you're a small business or a home user, you should implement multi-factor. If you're a D2D customer, you're probably already responsible for implementing and using multi-factor. And if you're able to move beyond multi-factor to passkeys, we highly recommend doing so. As always, thank you for your time, and remember, security is the bridge that connects freedom and peace, and vigilance is the price of that security. Stay safe out there.